welcome back to the Evening Podcast. Let me make sure my mic is, I think it's good there. It's wild because I haven't been using my headphones. Well, one, my headphones broke. I don't know if I told y'all that. My headphones broke. That was the whole thing. And then I realized after recording for a few times, I was like, I think this sounds all right without the headphones. So here we are. But anyway, thank y'all for tuning in. Hope you are doing well. I know a lot of us are like, you know, in this state of like, what in the world is going on in this country, right? And I figured I'd hopefully get our minds off of it for a bit in this episode. And I wanted to talk about something that I wish that I could do here in New York City, but I don't have a yard. I don't have a yard to actually um, garden. And so that's what I'm talking about today is like gardening. And for those of you who have the ability to garden, I mean, I can put plants in my apartment and do things of that nature, but to really garden, that's something I would love to do. So I wanted to talk about that because I feel like with a lot of things that are going on in terms of the uncertainty in this country as it relates to, the cost of food going up more and more, I think many of us can, something like gardening to help us through those times. And as I was thinking about this, I was like, you know what? I wonder if gardening has, increased since all of this stuff that's been going on, like the tariffs and all the inflation that we're experiencing. And so you already know, I found me an article. And to my curiosity, I was, I was on that actual, not actual, I was actually right in so many ways. It is something that has increased this year. And I thought that was just really, really interesting because it's something I've been thinking about. And I was like, I wonder how this is going. And so, yeah, this actual article that I have, and I'll share it like I always do in the show notes, it was published July 2nd of this year. And the title of the article is Gardening Booming Despite Economic Uncertainty, Garden Media Group says. So, amid tariffs, economic worries, and cold snaps, gardening is America's bright spot, according to Garden Media Group. And it's so wild when you think about something so, and it might not even be like well, yeah, it's something simple, right? You just don't even think about this being something that could be a major lifesaver to so many across this country, given what, everything that we're going through, because beyond just the food aspect of gardening is very therapeutic for many people who actually have gardens and are in that whole space of gardening and tending to their yards and things of that nature. It is very soothing and therapeutic. And then you could also get the benefits of having food as well in this whole process of gardening. The article starts off, it says, when the world feels uncertain, because Americans get planting. That's the core message of Garden Media Group's new report, Garden Pulse Spring 2025 analysis. And there's a hyperlink for that analysis if you want to take a look at it. But, I'm not going to go through that during this actual episode. It says while other industries report slowing traffic and declining sales, gardening is holding strong and growing despite cold weather, consumer caution, and tariff fueled economic anxiety. Even with poorly early spring weather, garden center sales in 2025 are only 3.9% behind 2024 and still far ahead of the same period in 2020. Gardening has always been recession resistant, said Garden Media Group President Katie Boudreaux. In 2008, 2020, and now again in 2025, we're seeing a familiar pattern. When people face financial or emotional uncertainty, they return to their roots, literally. Charlie Hall, economist at Texas A&M, explained, "Our spending doesn't have the same erratic nature as our confidence." So, in other words, even if people feel uncertain, their garden purchases remain consistent, often therapeutic. And like I was saying, like I feel like many people who do garden, they use it for that time just to kind of like get themselves together and regroup and just be one with the earth. I think a lot of times we forget that, especially folks like me who live in New York City. We're just so used to the hustle and bustle and the grind and, just trying to get from one place to the other. And hopefully we can make it in good timing, whatever that is here in New York City or in any major city, that we forget to take time to just relax and enjoy the earth and enjoy what the earth offers us. I'm coming back to that more and more, especially at this point in my life when I realize that there's so many things that we got so caught up in, right? Or I'll say for myself, that I've gotten so caught up in as it relates to like, being in a major city and, having all these experiences. And while it's beautiful and it's amazing, like I said, it does take away a lot of times that sense of being grounded and feeling like you are a part of the earth as opposed to being a part of this crazy system that we're a part of. And so I think if anything is something that is beneficial to many of us is realizing that we need to reconnect ourselves to the earth and rely on the earth for sustenance, for healing, for energy, for all the things because it's there for us, right? And I love that about this whole idea of just gardening and understanding the importance of gardening and how it plays a part in just our everyday lives. The article goes on to say, according to the analysis, social media mentions of gardening in spring 25 are on par with the pandemic boom years and significantly higher than pre COVID levels. But it's not just volume, it's emotion. Posts express joy, relief, and deep satisfaction in getting back into the garden. The data tells the story. Frontline sales of ICGs are nearly identical to those in 2024 and are up 27% from 2020 from strong demand for both edibles and ornamentals. Wildlife garden certifications from the National Wildlife Federation have surged 12% over last year, reaching their highest number of new certifiers in April since 2021. This signals continued enthusiasm for nature at home. As March 2025, as of March 2025, I'm sorry, garden centers using Square, which is like a payment system, have seen 8.6% increase in processing gross profit and a 9.3 increase in transition volume compared to 2024. Social chatter about gardening remains high, with positive sentiment dominating conversations. While Facebook and Instagram remain strong, platforms like YouTube and Reddit are now seeing explosive growth, up to 32% and 36% respectively, compared to 2024, and well over 150% from peak pandemic years. And while consumer spending is shifting from wants to needs, garden centers are uniquely positioned to thrive. Unlike travel, car detailing, or big ticket splurges, gardening offers tangible rewards and emotional uplift. I love that. I love that so many people are coming back to the basics and really just trying to take in, what is really important, what is necessary. Because I think this culture has shaped us into thinking that we need all these things and that at the heart of who we are, we're consumers, right? And I feel like now people are really being mindful of that whole consumer mentality and saying, hey, wait. If I'm going to consume anything, it needs to be things that are useful. And to me, that's awesome because one, for me, I'm that type of person. And sometimes I splurge, let's be serious, but a lot of times I purchase things based off need. If I don't need something, a lot of times I'm not purchasing it because I just feel like it's a waste or there's really, sometimes you kind of get caught up in something and it's just like, okay, now what do I do with this? Right. I buy, like experiences as well. Like I love traveling. I love going to see shows and concerts. Those things I will definitely spend money on. But just basic trinkets and just random stuff, it's not really my thing. Every once in a while I'll buy a purse or, something like that. But I'm finding myself, even with those purchases, really scaling back and just thinking about, do I really need that? Like I have tons of purses. Like I don't need another purse. Like I'm fine with not having another purse or another bag. Like I'm totally fine. And so I love, like I said, I love the fact that we are getting back into this idea of what is really necessary as opposed to let me just purchase this so I can look like I have the latest and greatest or whatever that is. Me, this is inspiring. The article then goes on to say opportunities to plant hope. As economic winds grow, consumers are planting hope, literally. Garden centers that show up now offering community education and connection will recap the rewards all season long. The message is clear. Don't pull back, Danny Summers, president of the Garden Center Group, Even in the face of tariffs and unpredictable weather, gardening continues to thrive. Now's the time for retailers to stay confident and visible and not discount. Now is the time to scale back. It's Now is not the time, I'm sorry, to scale back. It's time to lean in. From easy DIY landscaping kits to expanding edible gardens, consumers are choosing gardening as a way to regain control, save money, connect with family, and care for their mental health. And then the article then just kind of goes on and talks about like what garden centers should be doing at this time to like help consumers in this, moment of purchasing, more plants and things that will benefit them, the consumer, in the end. So they basically said like reclaim the story. So position gardening as an antidote to uncertainty. Utilize science, signage, email, and social posts to highlight the value of staying home, digging in, and investing in wellness through plants. Speak to homebody economy. That's me. I love being at home. So, yeah. And invite customers to grow where they are. Host to grows who schedule like events, classes, and hands on workshops now. Experiences are driving traffic and increasing cart sizes. From seed starting to pollinator planting parties, give your customers a reason to come and come back again. Stock what sells. Prioritize high demand edibles and convenience gardening product. Think beans, tomatoes, cucumbers, plus seed tape, mats, and pellet options. Emphasize time saving, success boosting solutions at every price point. Be affordable luxury. I love that. Affordable luxury. That's my kind of thing. Consumers want their dollars to go further. Today's top selling products serve two purposes: beauty, biodiversity, curb appeal, and property value, wellness, and food security. A plant that feeds the bees and your family, that's what's the winning cart. That's what's in the winning cart. I'm sorry. And then the last one, it says champion real life sustainability. Sid Raish, group service provider for business strategies at the Garden Center Group, suggests being the local sustainable alternative to chain stores and imported goods. Promote growing healthy food without chemicals or heavy shipping costs. Inspire families to swap screen time for green time. Building gardens together, learning real life skills, and reconnecting with nature and each other. Gardening offers not just food, but wellness, resilience, and self reliance. Summers and Raish both agree garden centers have the power not just to sell plants, but to plant hope. And right now, that's exactly what the world needs. I love this cute little article. It's very simple, very straight to the point, and it just really, like I said, it provides that sense of like, I can do things for myself. I don't have to rely on this country to, sustain me in terms of, my happiness, my sustenance, or just even my entertainment. All these things can be found right through gardening. And I love that this is something that can be offered as a hopeful thing in such a wild and uncertain time. So listen, this is a short and sweet podcast episode, but I thought this was really great to talk about and just to encourage folks about how to manage themselves in such a wild and crazy time. I hope you guys are doing well. And like I said, take in this information, especially if you are gardening or if you're in the process of it and it's like, is this even something you should do? Yes, definitely continue on with it. I think it's something that would be beneficial, not only for you, but those around you. You could be a blessing to someone and offer things that you've grown. I just saw somebody in my family they grew something. They had like all these cucumbers and peppers, and they were just giving them away to people. And like I said, you could be a blessing to someone and not even realize it. So yeah, if you're not gardening, get to it. And if you are, keep it up. And I will live through you. We have tons of community gardens here in New York City. It's just becoming, a member of one of those. So I got to get on it. Right. All right, y'all. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Eden Podcast. I will see y'all next week. All right. Bye.